Future Publishing and Intel got together to launch the Digital Artist of the Year Awards. Now, Intel, I'm quite sure you're familiar with, and Future published the best magazines for digital creatives and developers, such as .NET, Computer Arts Projects, 3D World, and ImagineFX.
I'm Dave Gibbons, and I'd like to welcome you to Digital Artist of the Year competition 2009. It's the first of its kind to bring together the very best in digital art and design in a single showcase. Just to tell you a little bit about the competition, which has been fantastically well received. It closed on the 31st of August, and they received nearly 2,500 entries at the website. And it spanned 13 different creative disciplines, from graphic design and 2D illustration to animation and visual effects. And around the room, you probably had the chance to look at some of the very best entries. But tonight isn't about me, unfortunately, or any of the other critically acclaimed judges here tonight. Tonight's about celebrating the achievement of all this year's winners and uncovering some exciting new talent. Judged the 2D illustration category, and I've now seen the winning entry, and I'm even more convinced that it should have been the winning entry. It was really hard to judge because I was amazed by the standard of it, but the winning entry I thought was a really beautiful piece of work.
As part of the build-up to the awards, Intel ran a series of digital artist masterclasses. Around the country, events were held with Dave Gibbons, concept artist for Marvel, A.D. Granoff, Studio Output's Dan Moore, and Magnetic North's Brendan Dawes. Category judge Tom Baker probably had the toughest challenge with his masterclass. Intel were the principal sponsors of the Rawton Festival Innovation this summer, so big planes, classic cars, and hot air balloons, and the Intel tent celebrating all that is new in innovation. Tom had on paper what looked like a tough gig because instead of students or digital creatives, his audience were families and children who'd had their interest piqued by hearing that they could learn about creating animations on the home computer at the festival. Regular viewers will remember Tom Baker from an interview we did with him a year ago about his work for DoTheGreenThing.com. Since then, he's gone on to work for the Cartoon Network and produced Red Button and online animations for the BBC.
What am I doing in Rawton? Well, Intel very kindly asked me to come down and do a presentation on what it is to be a digital artist and how I use a PC to create my digital art. Now, you know that I'm a character animator, so I showed some cartoons to the families that were here. It was a real hit with the kids, actually, which I guess cartoons would be. Quite a few of them came up afterwards, going through how you use a graphics tablet, what Flash is. I've got kind of scribbling on the graphics tablet. It was fun. And then, that's why I'm in Rawton.
So you're a judge on the Digital Artist Awards this year, so what's your criteria for judging them?
My criteria for judging this Digital Artist Awards, well, I think judging's a very subjective thing. So, I like to be impressed by something, technically. I think that if there's something that I look at and I think, wow, how have they done that? Quite like stories, even if it's just a short sting, because narrative draws the audience in. If you think about it, in terms of, like, say, song lyrics, you got a tune that you like the sound of, but you got a tune that you like the sound of that's also got lyrics that you like listening to. That's going to be better than just a tune on its own. And I guess originality to an extent. If you see a load of different animations and they're all of a similar thing, you know, like you get lots of 3D animation and there's lots of camera pans and all this spin, or you know when The Matrix came up, that kind of new special effect, and all of a sudden it's in every film, and you get kind of very critical of that particular special effect, but the first time it came out you're like, wow, I've never seen that before, that looks great. So yeah, I think those are my criteria for judging.
So what's the big thing for web animations coming up?
I've been working on something called tapisodes recently, which is something that could potentially be quite big. So you know everyone's got mobile phones. These tapisodes are a way in which you can get comic strips that you get in the back of any newspaper downloaded onto your phone, and you can just tap through them using your finger. So every day, instead of reading whatever strip you're going to read in the back of a newspaper, you can get them onto your phone. And we sort of, using the existing stories, do some sort of mild animation on the characters and the artworks that already are there, and they kind of work okay.
So what's the next big project for you, Tom?
Recently I did something for the BBC Red. You know, you got your remote control and you got a red button that you press that gives the interactive services. So the BBC Red is the kind of the red button interactive services you get. And I did something for Mitchell and Webb. They had a radio show apparently ages ago. So they gave me the audio for that, and from that I created a cartoon that then went on this Comedy Red. It's also available on the internet, so go and have a look because I'm quite proud of it. What was I up to last night? Me and my friend Paul went out at this amazing place actually called Swindon. I hadn't even heard of Swindon, but it's got some of the most wonderful nightlife I've ever been to. We went to this kind of like Australian themed pub called the Outback, and it was literally just like being in the Outback. It was full of savages, everyone was drunk. I felt so at home. And then we went outside and there must have been some kind of police parade because there's more policemen than I've ever seen anywhere in the world. And it was such a charming little city or town. So I recommend if you want to move anywhere and you want to maybe raise a family, go out in Swindon at around midnight and just take the kids out there. Anyway, I'm going to have to go. I've got to go back to London. See you soon.
Walk away. It lasts forever, ever. Walk away. It lasts forever, ever.
Love gets colder as my heart gets older.